you ever been sitting in traffic or at your desk or staring at your phone at 10 p.m. on a Sunday night and felt this sudden, overwhelming urge to just disappear? Not in a dark or dramatic way, just to hand in your notice, sell your stuff, pack a bag and drive into the middle of nowhere. You might even consider buying a piece of land, building a cabin, growing your own food, chopping wood, turning off the notifications, just generally quieting the noise and completely walking away from the rat race. If you felt that pull lately, you're far from alone. Lately, millions of people, especially those of us approaching or passing 40, are finding themselves quietly obsessed with off-grid channels, homesteading, moving abroad, or just packing up and moving to the Scottish Highlands or the middle of Wales. We watch people building cabins, living off rain catchers and solar panels, and part of our brain whispers, why am I not doing that? Now, something shifted over the last few years. The COVID pandemic didn't just disrupt our routines, it broke a spell. It shattered the illusion that working 50 hours a week to pay for a life you're too tired to enjoy is actually a fair trade. Today I want to talk about the urge to disappear, why modern life is driving an entire generation off grid, why turning 40 makes this feeling hit like a freight train, and how to figure out whether you're trying to run away from a life that's burning you out, or if your soul is genuinely calling you to build something different. So grab a coffee, let's talk about it. So let's be honest about the world we're living in right now. For decades we were handed a social contract. You go to school, you get a job, you work hard, you buy a house, you pay a mortgage, you buy things to keep yourself entertained on the weekend. And eventually, when you're 65 or 70, you get to enjoy life. That was the contract. But over the last 5 to 10 years, and specifically accelerated by the pandemic, millions of people realise that the contract is fundamentally broken. We live in a culture of hyper-consumption and artificial noise. From the moment you wake up, your attention is being monetised. Every app on your phone is designed by behavioural scientists to keep you addicted, or even anxious or outraged. Everything costs more. Housing is astronomical at the moment. The news cycle is an endless stream of crisis. And most people are working jobs where they don't actually see the tangible fruit of their labour. Think about that for a second. Historically, humans worked with their hands. You ploughed a field, you harvested crops, you built a shelter, you made a table. At the end of the day, you looked at what you did and your brain registered, I made that. My effort created survival. Now today, millions of people spend 8 hours a day moving digital text across spreadsheets, answering emails that generate more emails, and attending meetings about meetings. It's abstract. It lacks tangible reality. And then COVID hit. For the first time in modern history, the world grounded to a halt. People were sent home. The daily commute vanished. And in that quietness, despite the stress and uncertainty, millions of people had an uncomfortable epiphany. They looked at their daily routine without the momentum of the rat race holding it together. And they thought, I don't actually like my life. I'm just busy. Now, when you take away the commute and the office dynamics, you're left staring at the raw reality of how you spend your time. And for a lot of people, that was the catalyst. It planted a seed that hasn't stopped growing. Now layer that cultural shift on top of a personal milestone, approaching or turning 40. Now I'm approaching 40 myself right now. And if you're anywhere near this age, you know exactly what I'm talking about. In your 20s, life feels infinite. You have all the time in the world. You're building, proving yourself, chasing status, establishing a career, figuring out who you are. Now you can tolerate bad bosses, long commutes and chaotic environments because you assume it's all stepping stones to some future payoff. In your 30s, you build the structure. Maybe you get married, have kids, buy the house, climb the ladder, and then 40 arrives. 40 hits you like a cold glass of water to the face. Because for the first time in your life, you realise, not intellectually, but viscerally, in your bones, that your time on this planet is limited. You realise you're roughly halfway through the movie. And the question that starts echoing in your head at 2 a.m. isn't, how can I earn more money? Or how can I get promoted? The question becomes, is this how I want to spend the rest of my life? Am I going to spend the next 25 years doing the exact same thing? Paying off a mortgage in a town I don't love? Surrounding myself with noise I don't care about? Just so when I retire, that I can enjoy life when my body is old and tired? Or do I want to take control of my sovereignty right now? Now, this is why off-grid channels are exploding on YouTube. When you watch someone clearing timber in the woods, harvesting rainwater, or sitting by a wood stove in a cabin they built with their own hands, you aren't just watching a lifestyle vlog. You're watching sovereignty. You're watching someone who opted out of a system that felt fake and opted for a life that feels real. Now, as a coach, this is where I have to bring us back to reality, because this is the most critical part of this conversation. When you feel that intense urge to sack it all off and disappear, you have to ask yourself a very honest, very confronting question. Are you running towards a new vision, or are you running away from internal burnout? Because there is a massive difference. If you're running away, if you think moving to a cabin in Wales or buying a van or moving to Spain is going to magically cure your anxiety or even fix your relationship or make you feel peaceful inside, I have news for you. Your mind will come with you while you're moving in that van. If you haven't dealt with your internal nervous system, your boundary issues, or your relationship with yourself, you'll just be as anxious and burnt out, but this time you'll be sitting in a cabin in the woods. Geography does not heal internal friction. However, if you do the internal work and realise, no, my mindset is fine, what's wrong is that my current environment and lifestyle completely misalign with my core values, then that urge to disappear isn't a fantasy, it's an instruction. Here is how you audit that feeling. First, what part of your life actually needs to die? Usually when people say, I want to quit my life, they don't actually want to destroy everything. They just want a specific part of their life to end. Is it the job? Is it the financial pressure? Is it the superficial social circle? Is it the noise and crowd of city living? Identify the specific element that is draining your life force. You don't have to burn down the entire house to fix a broken window. Secondly, what does off-grid actually mean to you? You don't need to move to an unheated yurt in the wilderness to live off-grid life. For most people, off-grid is a metaphor for autonomy. It means spending less time on screens and more time in nature. It means downsizing your material expenses so you don't need to work 60 hours a week just to pay for stuff you don't need. It means setting hard boundaries with your work so your time belongs to you. You only get 1 second act. If you're approaching 40 or 50 or wherever you are right now, and you feel that deep ache for simplicity, for space, for nature, for quietness, stop dismissing it as a silly midlife crisis. It isn't a crisis, it's an awakening. It's your intuition telling you that the life you built in your 20s no longer fits the human being you've become. You don't have to sell your house and buy a tractor tomorrow morning, but you do have to stop living on autopilot. Start making small, sovereign shifts today. Downsize your overhead. Reclaim your weekends. Put your phone in another room. Spend time in actual silence in nature. Start planning the transition towards a life that feels authentic to you, rather than a life that looks good to everybody else. Life is too short to spend it quietly wishing you were somewhere else. If this video resonated with you, hit the subscribe button. Leave a comment down below with where you're at in your own transition. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. Take care of yourself. Master your narrative. I'll see you in the next video.